I feel like the only beverage in the writer's room fridge when making this movie was White Monster, and I will not explain myself. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about Dan Trachtenberg's new Predator movie, Predator: Badlands. So this film follows a young Predator who's been cast out from his clan for essentially being the runt of the litter. He's too weak. So to earn the respect of his clan, he takes on this impossible hunt and goes to this planet where basically everything's out to kill you. It's basically Space Australia. And on the way, he runs into this android who helps him along the way and teaches him some things about the Predator culture that may not be the most optimal way to live. And right out the gate, what surprised me most about this movie was the strong emotional core that it had. It builds out a great relationship between this young Predator and all the other characters. For example, early on in the movie, you have the Predator's older brother, who is the only one in the clan who really sticks up for him, watches out for him, and as an older brother, I really related to a Predator, an alien, in how he was looking out for his brother, wanted to make sure that his brother had opportunities to succeed. And so I was really surprised with that bit, with it being so emotionally resonant for the movie that I thought I was going into. I also think that the relationship between the android and the Predator is really well done. Now, they never have the Predator speak English, which I really like. They have him speak a Predator language that they obviously came up with, and they establish that the android is able to translate between and speak the Predator's language and all that good stuff. But I think that they do a really good job of differentiating the two, but making it believable that they would come together in this way. They even do the same thing that they do in the new God of War games with Kratos and Mimir, where the side character that's more knowledgeable is literally tied to the brawny main character. And it does a really good job of differentiating what each character's strength is and makes them forced traveling companions. I think it was really well done. And what makes that character of the android so effective is she essentially serves as a catalyst to break down some of the flaws in the Predator ideology, which in some of the previous movies, it was a little odd to me that these hyper-advanced aliens were hunting creatures and humans that aren't fighting on the same level technologically as them. Now, I know they nerf themselves, and I know they do all this stuff, but it points out some of the flaws in the philosophy of having to do everything alone and having to do everything in these specific set ways. And I think it was really cool that while not taking away from the Predator and not making them any less badass, they are deconstructing the sort of philosophy behind them. And I think that that was really cool, because it's essentially saying, hey, you don't need to do everything on your own to be a badass, or to be successful, or to be cool, or however you want to take it. It's the movie saying it's okay to accept help, and that doesn't diminish your standing or your aura, or however you want to put it. And I think that that was a really cool message for the movie to have. Going off these relationships, this movie actually does have a sense of humor. Whether it be goofy stuff with the creatures in the movie, or the Predator being a total wise-ass, which is kind of hilarious because he's giving these 1 or 2 word responses that are just pretty savage, if I'm going to be honest. So definitely a little bit more humorous than I was expecting. So a couple moments made me laugh out loud, so I was pretty appreciative that they were able to slip those into the movie without disturbing the tone for the most part. And now kind of getting into the meat and potatoes of why I liked this movie. Everything is just really cool. This movie has tons of fights, whether it's Predator on Predator, or a Predator hunting down his prey, or Predators versus these other entities that are kind of hunting them down at some point. It does a really good job of not only pacing its action, but the action choreography, especially for almost full CGI film, was really, really cool. They do cool stuff with swordplay. They do cool stuff with all his gadgets where they're used really creatively. And I think that this movie just decided that if something was going to look cool, they were going to put it in the movie, and it was definitely for the movie's benefit. And some of these action scenes do really cool stuff that goes against the grain for what you're expecting. There's a point in the movie where the Predator doesn't really have access to all his normal tools, and he has to make do. And it really, really is a cool action scene, and he just goes to town. And it was super creative, and I really enjoyed that they decided, like, hey, we could do the same action scene and just give him all the normal tools that the Predator would have, but we want to be creative, we want to show his growth, so we're going to take him out of his element and show that he's still going to thrive there. And I thought that it was a really creative direction to go with that. Now, I also think that a lot of the creatures that he goes up against and that he's hunting down have really, really cool designs to them. They do a good job of making some of them menacing. There are even a couple that are kind of cute that end up being around for some of the movie. And I really think it's a testament to not only the creativeness of the team that worked on this movie, but also the people who worked on the CGI on these creatures, because not one of them would have been able to be practically done. Unless somehow it was, then kudos, because they looked amazing and looked nothing like animals on Earth. So they definitely did a good job of making you feel like you're on this alien planet while giving you enough familiarity that it still feels like Predator. So definitely a really good job world building, a fantastic job building relationships, and probably the best movie this year at putting together action sequences, making them cool, and drawing you in throughout the duration of them. Alright, now we're on to the cons, and warning, this section is going to be really short because I don't have much bad to say about this movie. The first thing is they kind of get a little Disney with some of the humor. Not all of it. Like I said, the humor was in my pros category. There are just a couple jokes where you're like, oh, I don't think that kind of joke fits in this movie. And there's not a lot of them. There are just a couple of them that gave me that feeling, but not enough to ruin the movie or even ruin the humor of the movie. It was just a couple of misplaced jokes that I feel like could have been better served in another movie, but not a big deal. The other small con I have with this movie involves the back end of the climax, and it's a huge nitpick, but a character essentially... The climax essentially gets dragged out when it doesn't need to. It has a good ending point, and then it kind of moves past it just a little bit and keeps going with it. And it wasn't like, oh, I thought this was 10 seconds too long thing. It was you had an ending point, and then you went past it because you wanted to accomplish something that could have been accomplished in the main chunk of the climax anyways. It was just a little weird, and when I was in the theater, I kind of was like, okay. And it didn't, like, bug me that much. It was just one of those things where I was confused as to why they did it that way. But overall, huge, huge, huge nitpick. And guys, if you have time this week, definitely go out to see Predator Badlands while it's still in theaters. This was honestly the biggest surprise of the year for me. I thought it was going to be fine. I didn't have super high expectations for it. I've liked what Dan Trachtenberg's done with Predator so far, but this was so far and beyond my expectations. I am so glad I went out to see it in the theaters. I'm giving this a 4.5 out of 5.